Hey, good morning, everybody. Michael Shea. Today's the 29th of April. Transworld Business Advisors of Tampa and Orlando. You know, Going back to basics, I've way back in the day, probably 15 years ago, I did an orientation on documents and systems. And shame on me, I forgot that buyers and sellers rotate. As you go upstream in size, not all the buyers are new, they're not repeat businesses. You think that they find your video and that you've done your job. So what I thought I would do right now, and what I'm sharing with you, and forgive the size, I don't know any other way of doing this, is show you what a great listing looks like and show you the reflective activity. So the document on the left is what we call a business listing information sheet. You will hear brokers call it a BLI. Um, it shows the business type, the category it sits in, the county, the state, its price point, its SIC code, the money down. So when you see that money down, you need to go down to the bottom and I'm only showing the first page. There's a second page of it that shows the financing terms. When you see 10% or 20% down, 99.9999% of the time the business has been SBA pre-qualified. And you can tell that because it's marked down here in this section, third section, that it is pre-qualified for the SBA. There's a description block. There is the reason for the sale, the type of organization, how many hours at work. Now, this is where people start to get fused, particularly those of you who have participated in some of this SMB education garbage online. In Florida, when we created the MLS system, all the business brokers got together with a bunch of attorneys and advisors, and we said, what is the definition of owner benefit? Because at the Main Street level, owner benefit reflects a full-time working owner. So if it's on the MLS, generally it's not a middle market transaction, and unless otherwise stated, the cash flow will always reflect a working owner. Hence why when you see the 40 hours, that reflects a working hour. Now, in this case, or a working owner, in this case, there's a manager in the business. Um, the owner is absentee. He happens to be an accountant. He has a full-time W-2 job. He works once a month closing the books. Um, which, by the way, leading indicator, if a CPA owns the business, 99.9% of the time, the books are going to be clean, right? Which is a major issue. Remember one of my other videos, and I'll link it here at the top. Um, Less than 20% of the businesses on the MLS are going to have clean books and records. So then you get down here to the recasts of the business. It shows 3 years tax returns, right? Again, that is a scarce commodity. It shows the revenue. You'll see anomalies in sales. I was talking to the banker the other day and he was freaking out about sales fluctuations. And I go, dude, look at the gross margin. It's improved year over year. And look at the net margin. It's improved year over year. Um, Revenue is only relative. There was legitimate reasons as to why he decreased and how he manipulated it or ran the business in order to drive better margins. So what you want to see is this higher margin cash flow. And then again, owner benefit, an owner's salary, perks and benefits, interest charges, depreciation, and then other expenses. So this is what I call a clean listing, right? The amount of other, which is the garbage we usually find on the schedule associated with the other deductions, is minimal. The interest is associated with his SBA loan. And then the depreciation is the depreciation he took when he acquired the business because he did an asset sale. We'll do a discussion on asset sales later. The inventory that's included in the FF&E is included, the lease terms of the current facility. So this is pretty much a pretty business. Now, if you go to the right here, um, this is the back end of the MLS where we can look at the activity related to the listing in question, specifically this listing. Um, it shows the weeks that it went live, and it shows the amount of activity. So it went live on a Friday. So if you look at that first week where there shows activity, only 3 agents looked at it. It was on a Friday, so a lot of brokers don't work, but it still got 24 hits. And then the following Monday, 80, 30, 24, 33, 41, 31, 58, 52, 18. This reflects three websites, the BBF MLS, which is the site that I pulled this data from, and then two backlink sites. It does not reflect all the other sites that we had transferred, Transworld participate in. Now, some brokers only have 2 or 3 sites they post to. That's a question you should be asking. Um, so I will tell you there was a feeding frenzy. This is an indicator of a healthy listing that's going to hold its price. And indeed, you'll see it's under contract. It pretty much held its price. We had multiple offers. The confusion became where buyers were trying to do EBITDA valuations, and because of their SBA burden and the limited amount of capital they brought to the table, i.e., they thought they could make 150 grand putting 35 down, you know, again, you need to understand what you're looking at when you're making offers and drawing conclusions, and that's on the buyer to be educated. It is these are the standards. This is a listing that's created according to the standards of the MLS. If your brokers are presenting to you like it's an EBITDA valuation, then you've got the wrong broker because the broker doesn't know the rules. Um, when I see a listing that's not getting 20 hits, and if you're a business seller and you're not getting 30, 40 hits a week, then you've got a problem. The market is telling you your business is either overpriced, your records are bad, it's not being marketed professionally, or you've got a fundamental issue with your business. This is healthy. This held its price point and went under contract very, very quickly with multiple offers. So I share that with you because it's important for you to understand what good is. And as a buyer, you'll be able to identify good. As a seller, you'll understand what best in class looks like and how to delineate where you stand in the mix. If you want to get a hold of me, 321-287-0349, or just email me at mike@tworld.com.